Brian Winnikins at Commodity Classic, and thank you to BASF, Annabis Silo, also the Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, Dairyland Equipment Services, the Wisconsin Soybean Growers Association, Wisconsin Corn Growers Association, and BASF. Your Ashley Gaussman, your representative in Northwest Wisconsin. I'm with Bryce Anderson, DTN Meteorologist. We're going to talk a little bit today about some of the weather issues that could be coming up. Bryce, thanks for joining us from Commodity Classic. The El Nino starting to decline, I understand.
Yes, indeed, Brian. The very warm pool of water out in the equator region of the Pacific has maxed out. It did that during the end of the calendar year 2015, and those water temperatures are starting to make a slow decline. That was pretty well identified, and it looks like we're going to continue to see that on a fairly gradual basis all the way through into, I would say probably that June, July, August time frame, and then the ocean goes to neutral through about very late summer with a chance for some cooling showing up by the fall season this year.
So for the spring planting in west central Wisconsin, east central Minnesota, what can we expect then weather-wise?
I think that we're going to see fairly decent conditions, actually, with precipitation on a near normal, maybe even near to below normal basis a little bit. Temperatures fairly mild. There's a pretty high chance, the way this particular El Nino is acting, that over the southeastern half of the Corn Belt in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, south to the Ohio Valley, and then on through the Delta, that they're going to have a wet spring, cool temperatures, and some delays in planting. And I think that could get the trade discussion concerned a little bit, particularly if this holds into May and really starts holding things up on progress.
I know that there's also been a lot of talk about the possibility of very dry conditions in the middle of the growing season and how that could affect the crops as well. And some folks have even been saying, that could really cause a big weather rally, so to speak. But you're kind of like going, beware, because as a weatherman, you know that you can look in your crystal ball and say, hey, it's going to be dry, and all of a sudden it's just the opposite.
I think that we are in a situation where the market is not going to go down because of the weather pattern shaping up. This summer is going to, in all likelihood, be warmer and drier than we've had, particularly in terms of temperatures. The last two summers have been really quite mild overall. But I don't think that we're in a situation where there's going to be a real quick move into real hot and dry conditions. And also remember that over much of the Midwest, those soil moisture profiles are quite high at this point. You know, that profile is pretty well filled. So that leaves a very good reserve for crops to use if there's a period of dry conditions coming on.
You mentioned the soil moisture and that in the upper Midwest. Obviously, California was really banking on El Nino to really load up and help with their drought. Has it materialized, or has it only been a partial relief of the drought?
Yeah, it's only been partial in California, and that's because this El Nino event has sort of taken on its own character, and they do. There has been drought benefit in the northwestern United States. Washington, Oregon, far northern California has seen the bulk of the precipitation from El Nino during this winter and into early spring. It looks like central and southern California will get some moisture in the next week or so, but they haven't had nearly what they had hoped for. And I think that as a result, long-term drought benefit is going to be quite minimal in the far west and in the southwest. And, you know, they've had a historic drought, and it's not going to be cured by just one season of moisture, even if things pan out and give that part of the country a real generous helping from this point on.
Going to be some interesting weather here coming up again. Bryce, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome, Brian.
We are at Commodity Classic, and that's Bryce Anderson. He's DTN Meteorologist. I'm Brian Winnikins for Real Country 1430 WRDN.